Hey guys, this is Brad with Dallas Geek, and I'm here today with
Lhars Ebersold.
and we're here talking about your art. You've been doing art and cosplay for a long time. It's a lot easier for people to recognize you immediately from the crazy costumes that you've done and a lot of the other body work that you've done. But your art, I find to be absolutely fascinating. So how did these little kind of things come about for you?
Well, honestly, I wanted a creepy Christmas tree and something unique and different that I couldn't find. So actually the first year I made Nightmare Before Christmas. I did all the little toys and unique characters from Nightmare Before Christmas, and I wanted a tree of ornaments just that. And so it started becoming a obsessive theme. So another year was critters, and then another year was porgs, and this year will probably be gremlins and some Never-Ending Story statues.
Nice.
So things that you can't find that we grew up with pop culture-wise, like our Hellboy Tooth Fairy and like the Beetlejuice Sandworm. I like weird things.
Very nice. Even with the weird stuff, you do seem to have a very unique take on them. Slightly creepier than what they actually are, which I love. Was that a conscious decision for you to make it extra creepy, or like?
I'm a firm believer that every artist, you still have to do your own thing. So even if you're doing something that's somebody else's artwork, say a pop culture, another fan art thing, you still need to have your own take and twist and your own style, or that you're just taking somebody else's artwork.
Okay.
And so I like having my own original stuff, but I'm a firm believer if I'm going to take something that's pop culture, well then, I'm going to give a little bit of my own twist, my own style, and give it my look to it. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
You do a little bit of clay, a little bit of resin, a little bit of, it seems like everything. So what material did you start with before you got into all the rest?
Polymer clay.
Yeah.
I learned how to sculpt with polymer clays. I would actually make ornaments that was just polymer, and then I realized that sometimes if you got them too big, they're too heavy, or they wouldn't last as long. They would kind of disintegrate over the years. So I learned to do mold making, and so I had a couple guys at Brick and Yard train me on how to make molds. And so they introduced me to resin and lighter weight resins that lasted longer and they're more efficient.
Okay.
And so that's pretty much what all these end up coming out as the final product is resin.
So do you usually just focus on the little things? Do you go a little bit bigger?
I have been getting bigger, so like the Hellboy Tooth Fairy, I'm going to do a bunch of specimens. So I have him, I'm going to do some chest bursters and have them all dissected open and pinned out in a shadow box. Cool stuff.
Nice.
Totally normal things you want on the wall.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you want a chest burster on your wall, didn't you?
It seems normal to me.
I thought so. I mean, did you see David's laboratory on Aliens? Like,
Yeah.
he had a sweet lab. I want that lab. You think I'm joking?
Oh no, I totally believe you on that one.
That's a goal.
I know your aesthetic. That seems like right in your wheelhouse. So, what's been the most complicated thing that you've made so far?
Complicated would be getting into the larger props. American Horror Story introduced me to some complicated props whenever they asked me to come build some aliens that were the size of 9 to 10-year-old children. And they were literally changing the design within 24 hours of shipping out. And so that was one of my first lessons on learning how to make things on the fly, making them secure enough that they could travel, learning my materials a little bit more, learning epoxies really well. And I would say that's probably one of the most challenging things is I like having time. I'm a slower worker compared to some people, and it's learning how to pick up speed with efficiency and being mindful of what I'm using, what products can mix.
So that actually does bring up another point. You don't just make things for individual people that they would want to get, for ornaments or whatever. You have done some other work for other productions. So what all have you had a chance to be able to do work with outside of your own stuff?
I've been working with a lot of local short films. So I've done probably about 4 horror films. I've built props for different Comic-Cons and everything, representing some of the TV series. I've worked for ABC's False Prophets.
Okay.
It's just wherever the work is. That's just how the film industry is, especially in the Dallas area. We don't really have a steady roll of business. It comes in waves. So you might have 2 months of a bunch of films out here, and then 3 months everybody's looking for work and everybody's scattered. So it varies.
Sure. So of all those different productions that you've done work with, are you allowed to talk about one of the more So of those different productions that you've done stuff with, are you allowed to talk about any of the more difficult things that you've made for any of them? Or is that still kind of like, you can't quite talk publicly about it? Or
I could talk about a couple that have already been released.
Okay.
And so as long as they've been released, then yes. So
Okay.
most people can talk about them. And I think the hardest parts is when you're on a time crunch.
Okay.
As some productions, you'll get a heads up and you'll get like a month or 2 months to work on stuff. Some people, they'll hit you up 3 days before production and like, make this happen. You could do 100 hours of work in 3 days, right? And you say yes. And you make it happen. So
caffeine's your friend.
caffeine is my best friend. And some other things, but it's natural.
Seems fair. Obviously, with you being part of the cosplay community for your own fun and enjoyment, have any of your products been used as part of somebody else's cosplay or even your own?
Yes. I actually just recently did a trident for a buddy of mine. He actually did an amazing Aquaman, so I was kind of honored to sit there and be asked to do an awesome trident for him. I've had to build some different jackets and random props that people had unique customs that they wanted. I just try to help out everybody. That's all we ever do, isn't it? As artists, we help each other out.
Now, of course, the last big thing that we always want our viewers to know, if they want to go check out more of your work online, where can they find you?
Go to LharsEbersold.com. You can find me, and you can find me on any social media platform. I'm on all of them.
So that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube,
Pinterest, YouTube,
MySpace.
yeah, Vero. You could find me on MySpace. I'm still floating around on there. Maybe not that much artwork, but it's still there.
Fair enough. All right. Well, if you guys are interested in checking out any of her work, and I cannot recommend it enough. Like, seriously, guys, come on. It's freaky. It's amazing. It is just wonderful. Links will be down in the description below. So go check her out. And until next time, this is Brad with Dallas Geek saying, see ya.
Hi, guys.